Kayla McBride's historic performance. Lynx dominate Aces in record-breaking game. In a stunning display of dominance, the Minnesota Lynx delivered one of the most lopsided victories in WNBA history, defeating the Las Vegas Aces 111-58. This wasn't just a game. It was a masterclass in basketball execution, showcasing why the Lynx are considered title contenders this season. But here's where it gets controversial. Should such a blowout have happened? And could this loss expose deeper cracks in the Aces foundation? Let's dive into the details. Rewind to 8 days prior when the Lynx dismantled the struggling Aces by 31 points at Target Center. Everyone expected the Aces to bounce back on their home court, right? Wrong. Instead, the Lynx came out swinging with back-to-back three-pointers from Kayla McBride and Alana Smith within the first few minutes, a clear sign of what was to come. The visiting team didn't just play well, they played flawlessly, leaving the Aces grasping for answers. A huge part of Minnesota's success was their defensive strategy against A'ja Wilson, Las Vegas's star player and arguably their only consistent bright spot this season. Wilson, who typically carries her team through tough stretches, found herself locked down by the Lynx defense. She went scoreless in the first quarter and managed only 6 points by halftime on a dismal 2 of 9 shooting performance. By the final buzzer, she had scored just 10 points, hardly the stat line you'd expect from someone many consider the face of the franchise. But as Wilson faltered, so did the rest of the Aces. Minnesota capitalized on turnovers and pushed the pace relentlessly, racking up an impressive 29 fast break points, 21 of which came before halftime. What made this victory even more remarkable was that the Lynx didn't rely heavily on Napheesa Collier, their MVP candidate. While we'll get to Collier's situation shortly, let's talk about Jessica Shepard, whose near-perfect first half included going 6 for 6 from the field. Her contributions were invaluable, but she wasn't the only standout performer. The real showstopper of the night, Kayla McBride, or McBuckets, as fans affectionately call her. In the first half alone, McBride tied a WNBA record by draining 8 three-pointers without missing. Each shot seemed to come from farther out than the last, yet every attempt looked effortless. It was as if the ball was magnetically drawn to the center of the hoop. Fans of sharpshooting will want to relive these moments repeatedly because they were nothing short of spectacular. However, the second half told a different story for McBride. After scoring 24 points in the first half, she went cold, finishing 0 for 3 in 5 minutes of play. Some might argue this drop-off was disappointing, given her blazing start, especially since she needed just one more triple to tie the all-time WNBA record for most threes in a single game. Still, her final stats, 24 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals on 8 of 10 shooting from beyond the arc, are undeniably impressive. Oh, and did I mention she became the first player in league history to hit 8 threes and a half while shooting 100%? Yeah, that's historic. While McBride stole the spotlight, Jessica Shepard quietly put together an equally dominant performance. With 18 points and 14 rebounds, she recorded a double-double and finished with a staggering plus-minus rating of plus 46, possibly setting a franchise or league record. Her versatility on both ends of the floor highlighted why she's such a valuable asset to this team. Yet, not everything about this game was celebratory. Near the end of the third quarter, Napheesa Collier rolled her ankle during a fast break sequence. The scene was harrowing. Collier collapsed to the floor in visible pain, surrounded by concerned teammates holding up towels to shield her from view. Thankfully, after receiving assistance from athletic trainer Chuck Barta, she hobbled off the court with a slight limp. Though it appears disaster may have been avoided, questions remain about whether Collier should have still been playing with such a commanding lead. The Lynx were ahead by 43 points at that stage, and the Aces had essentially thrown in the towel. Adding another layer to the narrative, Yvonne Anderson made her debut with the Lynx after signing a 7-day contract. Meanwhile, Diamond Miller sat out as the lone DNP coach's decision, sparking curiosity among fans given her recent productivity filling in for the injured Carly Samuelson. On the flip side, the Aces' struggles extended beyond Wilson. Jewell Loyd joined her as the only other player to reach double figures in scoring, highlighting how thoroughly the Lynx dismantled their opponents. By the time head coach Becky Hammon subbed out her starters late in the third quarter, the outcome was already decided. The Aces were simply overmatched. This victory wasn't just about numbers. It was about sending a message. Minnesota set a new WNBA record for the largest road win, 53 points, and broke their own franchise record with 17 made three-pointers. For a team looking to prove its championship medal, this performance certainly turned heads. So what's next for the Lynx? After enjoying 2 days off, they'll travel to Seattle to face the Storm, 16-12 on Tuesday, August 5th. However, concerns linger about Napheesa Collier's availability following her injury scare. Can the Lynx maintain this level of excellence without her? Or will the Storm exact revenge for their earlier loss to Minnesota in June? One thing is certain, this game will spark plenty of debate. Was the margin too large? Should the Lynx have dialed it back once the result was inevitable? And what does this mean for the future of the Aces? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your take. Napheesa Collier suffers ankle injury during Lynx's historic win over Aces. Losing a key player to injury can turn what seems like a clear victory into a moment of uncertainty. And that's exactly what happened to the Minnesota Lynx after Napheesa Collier was forced out of their dominant 111-58 win over the Las Vegas Aces. But here's where it gets controversial. Even in the midst of such a commanding win, questions arise about player safety, strategic choices, and the true cost of victory. Collier had to leave the game in the final minutes of the third quarter after a collision with teammate Alana Smith resulted in her landing awkwardly on her right ankle. Although she managed to walk off under her own power, she was visibly helped by staff and was ultimately ruled out during the game's final stages. The team's coach, Relive, has emphasized that Collier will be undergoing further medical tests and scans in the coming days, but at this point, she remains in the dark about the injury's severity. Reeve mentioned, "We'll worry until we know more," reflecting the common unpredictability surrounding injuries in intense sports scenarios. Despite the injury, Collier showed her resilience by contributing 18 points, along with 5 assists, 3 rebounds, and 2 steals in just 26 minutes, highlighting her importance to the team even when absent at crunch time. Kayla McBride, who was instrumental during the game, described Collier as being in good spirits and visited her in the locker room afterward with her daughter Mila. McBride herself set a WNBA record in the game by hitting all 8 of her three-point attempts in the first half, leading the team with 23 points. Reeve defended her decision to keep Collier in the game until nearing the end, stating, "I didn't think the game was over," and emphasizing that Collier had a substitute ready if needed. Sometimes, playing through the final moments in sports can be a gamble. But in this case, it paid off. Minnesota's victory marked the second largest in WNBA history and the biggest ever on the road, a record that still hangs in the record books. While the scoreline might suggest complete dominance, McBride shared the mixed feelings many players hold. Pride in the team's performance, yet concern over Collier's injury, which she called heartbreaking, especially since Collier is their most valuable player. As the team prepares for their upcoming game against the Seattle Storm, it remains uncertain whether Collier will join her teammates or stay back for additional testing in Minnesota. This situation raises a larger question. Should teams prioritize the safety of their star players over immediate victories? Or is pushing to finish strong at all costs just part of the high-stakes game? What are your thoughts? Do victories like this come at too high a price? Or are they just part of the resilience that defines sports?